But first, here's my take. Last week's ceasefire in Gaza was an undisputed success for President Trump and his style of foreign policy. He and his team engaged in intense personal diplomacy, persuading Israel to hold its fire and coaxing the Qataris, Egyptians, and Turks to lean on Hamas. For a president who relishes deals and drama, the grand signing ceremony in Egypt was a natural stage. But as the Middle East quieted, another much more important theater grew more discordant, that involving US-China relations. In this arena, Trump has lurched from threat to retreat to confusion. First, he threatened new 100% tariffs and warned that he would cancel a planned meeting with Xi Jinping. Then, as Beijing refused to blink, Trump quickly softened, posting a conciliatory message on social media about wanting to help China, not hurt it. Aides reversed course, saying the Trump-Xi summit would take place after all. The pattern, loud threats, quick backdowns, and ensuing uncertainty has become familiar. The problem is that Trump's diplomatic playbook, effective in the Middle East, fits poorly in the longer, larger struggle with China. Trump's approach works where America has overwhelming leverage, and the politics are personal. In the Middle East, Washington holds the purse strings, the weapon systems, the security umbrella, cutting-edge technology, and the UN veto. The region's leaders, Netanyahu, Sisi, Erdogan, Mohammed bin Salman, are strong men who respond to presidential pressure and transactional incentives. Trump loves this world. He can call a leader, threaten, flatter, and then make a deal. The Hamas-Israel ceasefire was precisely that kind of performance, personal, visible, and theatrical. The contest with China, by contrast, is structural, a rivalry between two great powers bound by mutual dependence. Here, Trump's instincts misfire. He prefers bluffing to planning, pressure to partnership. But Beijing has the strength to call his bluffs. When he first imposed sweeping tariffs, China retaliated immediately with sweeping counter-tariffs of its own and with restrictions on rare earth exports that are essential for American defense electronics and car makers. Washington has real leverage over China. China depends on the US and its allies for advanced chip design, aerospace technology, and access to Western markets. But America depends on China for about 70% of its rare earth imports, more than 70% of lithium-ion battery imports, many low-end semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals. China's size and scale give it some commanding leads, particularly in manufacturing, which it dominates. But as Rush Doshi and Kurt Campbell explained in Foreign Affairs, while the US alone cannot make every critical technology, the US plus its allies can. The combined economies of America, the European Union, Japan, and India represent over 50% of global GDP and more than 50% of world R&D spending. The best China strategy then involves coalition management, coordinated investment, technology partnerships, and shared deterrence. That requires patience, consistency, and trust. Trump's record here is dim. He alienated Europe and Canada with punitive tariffs. He began a review of the AUKUS submarine pact, which binds the US, UK, and Australia in a critical Indo-Pacific partnership. He has repeatedly questioned NATO's value, and he has upended nearly 3 decades of patient diplomacy with India, the only country with the scale to balance China economically, technologically, and militarily over time. By slapping sky-high tariffs on India and publicly courting Pakistan, now a de facto Chinese defense ally, he has managed to enrage New Delhi for little discernible gain. The critical aspect of any competition with China is, of course, internal, rebuilding US capacity by investing in research, supporting critical industries, and attracting global talent. Yet federal R&D funding as a share of GDP had fallen to barely 0.6% by 2023, around half its Cold War average, and that was before Trump's massive research cuts this year. Visa restrictions and other Trump administration actions have driven international student arrivals down 19% since last year. And support for homegrown technology has been pushed aside, replaced instead by tariffs and more tariffs. Consider Washington's strategy towards Taiwan. For half a century, U.S. policy has maintained a fragile but stable equilibrium, supporting Taipei militarily while avoiding provocation. That balance has endured through administrations of both parties because it's grounded in strategic consistency, careful signaling, and institutional memory. U.S.-China relations is not the place for impulsive tweeting. Trump's deal in the Middle East shows that his style of diplomacy can deliver bursts of success where personalities and asymmetries rule. But the China contest is slower, harder, more technical, less theatrical. It requires statecraft, not showmanship, patience, not bravado. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Trump continues to treat Beijing the way he treats the Gulf, America might discover that the art of the deal is no substitute for the architecture of strategy.